Hey guys, Lindsay here with Sunshine Canine Training. This video is to show you how to use your mini educator, the ET300 model. This is just a single dog system. It might come in a different color. These are just the color options that I've chosen for this particular remote. I'm going to show you how to turn it on, how to turn it off, how to charge it, and then some of the button functions on the remote itself. Okay, so this is the receiver and this is the remote. There's a lot of buttons on this remote. The manual tells you how to use everything. This is just a quick walkthrough. This is actually probably the oldest one I've had. I've had this one for like 2 years. So you can always change out the accessories, things like that. You can change the color of the remote. You see it's kind of dirty because we use it all the time. But they last a long time. eCollar Technologies has amazing customer service. There's a serial number on the remote, and there's actually a serial number on the back of the remote. On the receiver, and on the back of the remote, if you pop the skin off, and there's a tool that comes in the box that you can do that. So this is how to turn it on. So you see the little red dot here. There's also a red dot on your remote. Here we go. So it's actually activated by a magnet. There's a magnet inside here. So we do red to turn it on. And then when you do that, it flashes green. And then when the receiver is on, it should be flashing green all the time when it's on. It'll flash yellow or red when it needs to be charged. So the remote is still off. So the way to turn the remote on is to flip it around. There's actually a little on-off button here. It also has an L on it. You press and hold that, and then your system is on. It's usually on 0 when you turn it on if you've never turned it on before. The screen will display 1D on it. And then also there's a little letter here. It's the letter C. Some systems will have an M displayed on the other side, so it's like an M and a C. What that stands for is momentary and continuous. So that's how we have the remote set up, is just for continuous. Okay? So that's how to turn the remote on. To turn the remote off, press and hold that button until it turns off. So now it's off. You turn the system off the same way you turn it on, red to red. And then it blinks red, and then it shouldn't blink anymore when it's off. Okay, so that's how to turn it on and off. Now, how to charge this bad boy? You open it up right here. There's a little gasket here. Flip that open, and that's where you plug your charger into. I have a lot of room over here. So you plug the charger in, and it'll be red until it's fully charged. When it's fully charged, it'll turn green. And there's actually, the remotes usually come with 2, unless you get a multi-dog system. Then there's little extenders on the remote. Pop the little cap off, plug it in. It'll be red until it's fully charged. It'll turn green once it's done. So that's how you charge it. If they're on when you plug them in, they'll turn off to be charged. So that is how you charge them. Okay. So the settings on the remote, depending on what you want to do, so I just turned it back on so I can show you the settings. The settings on the remote are momentary and continuous. This is just on continuous. The way to change the settings is on the back of the remote. There's a little MC button right here. That toggles from momentary to continuous, or you can have both. And the way this remote is set up is both of the buttons right here are continuous stim. The S stands for stim, okay? So when I turn it up and I press the button, as long as I'm pressing and holding it, it will be on. And then the red button is typically a boost. I don't use boost, but it's like plus, this one is set to plus 30. That's like a major correction level there. I don't use boost, but that's just the function that it is. So if you press and hold on continuous, the collar will remain activated for about, I think, like 10 seconds. And then the light will turn off to indicate that it's no longer on. Then you have to press the button again. So we use it on continuous. You can use it on momentary. The way to set that is press and hold until you see a change on your screen. So now it's momentary and continuous, meaning this black button is momentary. So when I press it, even if I press and hold, it will only tap for a moment, okay? So it's just a tapping sensation. So I can press and hold this, and it's not gonna continue. It's done. It's just half a second, not even, okay? And then if I press and hold the red button when it's on momentary and continuous, then whatever number is on the screen, if I press and hold this, then it will be continuous on the level that's displayed on the remote, okay? So if your remote is set to continuous, let's go backward. So if the remote is set to continuous, then the red button turns into a boost. This is just for a one system remote. Remember that. When it's a two dog system, it's a little different. Okay, so when it's set onto continuous, the red button is a boost, meaning you see it jump. Typical remotes are set like +5, but if you set it yourself, you can set the number higher. So if you go to Momentary, which I'm gonna click through, put it on Momentary, the same thing happens where if I tap that red button, it jumps and uses the boost. And I have it set high so that you guys can see that it actually is it will change the number. I don't use boost, but Momentary is, again, just a, oh, that's tone. Never mind, forget about that one. This is just Momentary. So I can press and hold this as long as I want. It's only gonna tap for a second, okay? That's why I like continuous better. That's my favorite. So then there's a T on the side, and you heard it beep for a second there. Most remote collars from eCollar Technologies, when you get them, they're set to vibrate. At least this model is usually set to vibrate when you press the tone function. The way to change it out of vibrate is to press and hold the on-off button when it's set it to 0. Again, this is all in the manual. Set it to 0, press and hold the tone button and the on-off button. Press and hold it at the same time. If you don't do it at the same time, it won't work properly. So I'm gonna mess with it for a sec. There we go. Do you hear it beep? I did it a bunch of times. So now it's actually set to vibrate. So if I press that tone button, you can hear it. It's vibrating. So the way to do that, again, to switch from vibrate to tone, is to press and hold the T button and the on-off button. So press and hold, and you heard it tone. So the first time it took me a bunch of times, but that's how you switch it. I actually never use vibrate because vibrate feels like more of a stim than actually using the stim function on the remote. You can use tone for a variety of things, you know, marking good behavior, marking bad behavior. You can make it mean anything. It's just like a word. So, but that's the tone button. And I can press and hold it, or I can just tap it, okay? That's what that button means. Okay, that's my quick little how-to. Watch the video on how to properly fit the remote collar, because if it's not fit right, it's not gonna work properly, okay? That's how we do it. Again, to turn it off, red to red, press this button and hold. There you go, the on-off button. Guys, one more function that I forgot to talk about was the light feature on the remote collar. So if you're out at night and your dog doesn't have super thick fur, that on-off button also serves as a flashlight. So you can tap that and it'll blink. So that's kind of cool. If you're walking down the street and you've got a dog that doesn't have super thick fur, it can flash so that your dog's got something flashing on their neck. You can press it twice and then it'll just be on all the time. That's a pretty neat feature. I like to use that if I'm in the kennel room and the lights are out, which never happens, but I've got a flashlight. I got a bunch of flashlights here. So that's a pretty cool feature. And to turn it off, you just tap it again, okay? And press and hold to turn it off, okay? So guys, that's how to turn on, turn off, charge, and use some of the button functions on your mini educator, your ET300. This is just a one dog system. The two dog system is a little bit different, but that's how we use this one. Remember that proper fit is super important for any remote collar that you're using. So check out our other videos on how to properly fit your remote collar on your dog.